Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Real Talk Podcast. My name is Vignesh, and I'm one of the hosts of this podcast. Since May, Community Living Month, we wanted to use this episode to celebrate. So today, I'm talking to the self-advocate, longtime community living supporter, Nico Papil. Welcome, Nico.
Thank you, Vignesh. Glad to be here.
I'm excited to have Nico on the podcast today about his advocacy work, specifically with the Council of Community Living Ontario. For those who haven't heard of the council before, it is a group of 12 self advocacies from across Ontario and Canada who work together with Community Living Ontario Board of Directors to find solutions, share information, opinions, knowledge, and experience on important issues such as poverty, affordable housing, human rights, and barriers to quality healthcare. We're going to hear more about the council during today's conversation. But before we jump in into that topic, Nico, can you please share a bit about yourself?
Certainly. So, I've been a member of the council for many years, but currently on an 8 year streak, which will be potentially going on hold for a year. But I'm looking at potentially also running over for the board of directors as an option. And so, I've been involved in many different groups over the last number of years, doing a lot of advocacy work, including my local group with the A team, which we'll be talking a little bit about more later. I've also been involved with a group called People First York Durham, going through a couple of transitions, but I spend a lot of time working outside of my groups, doing a couple of different jobs, food delivery job actually later today. So yeah, that keeps me very busy. So yeah, I keep myself busy in a lot of different things. I'm actually just spearheading my own project of a group that I'm going to start up called Ontario Inclusion Alliance.
Mhm.
And what that'll be is for anybody that wants to connect with other people, talking about issues across the province. You don't have to be affiliated with any groups. It can be for anybody. The only thing that we ask is that people are going to remain positive with each other. And as long as the conversations go positively, hey, you have issues that we want to know about and you want a guidance, come to us. We will work together as a team to help figure out what we can do to help you out.
So you've been working in different types of organizations in the past few years. Is that correct?
Yeah, including my involvement with Carrie's Place Autism Services as their new chair on their advisory committee.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I'm
I
so
wear many
proud.
hats, so it keeps me busy. Some people always tell me, how do you not kill yourself and wear yourself out? It takes a lot of practice. Do you sleep? Yeah, but sometimes what is sleep?
Thank you for that great introduction. Now, let's jump in because I'd love to learn more about the council. You've been a member of the Council Community Living Ontario for the past 8 years and have been involved with the council for about 15 years. You held every position on the team from secretary to president. Looking back, what inspired you to join Community Living Ontario and get involved in advocacy work?
So it actually started back when I was part of my local advocacy group, the A team. One of our members of it who received supports from the agency. She's been part of the council before I started, obviously. So she was telling us about what the council does, was giving us some updates. So it kind of intrigued me because I wanted to know more. So later, I think it was that year or the next year, I ran to join the council and I got on. I think I started off as like a basic member and then just kind of gradually worked my way up over the years. But she was the one who got my foot in the door about knowing more about it, the work they were doing at the beginning, and it led me to want to do more and get more involved. So that's where that journey kind of started with the council.
So you build that network connection and work and start yourself from the bottom and work yourself up gradually to get into that top position that you're in right now. Is that
Hmm.
correct?
Yep. I love it. I mean, it's been a great stepping stone because the council actually this year is going to be celebrating, get this, 30 years.
30 years?
Yeah.
No way. Get out
Yeah,
of
I
town.
couldn't believe that. And I was just like, wow, 30 years? Has it really been that long? And I mean, I started probably 15 years into the council, maybe a little less than that. So like I've spent a great deal of time with the council over that many years where it started, not officially when it started, but like partway into that initial 30-year start. So it's just like to see where we've gone from to where we are now, which we'll probably get into later into the conversation. But yeah, it's been a great experience.
I see. Thank you for sharing. It's great to see how you evolved. Been have you been evolved for over the years and what you got started with the council in the first place? As a council member, you've gone to advocate for all issues. For example, you have spoken very openly in the media about your own housing situation and broader housing crisis faced by people with disabilities in Ontario. How has your sharing your story publicly helped other people with disabilities?
So for me, I mean, I guess I've spoken a lot about it openly to many different people, groups. My story is available online. I'll be happy to share the link to that later, um, so it can be referenced. But a lot of people have like asked me like, what kind of resources are there out there for someone that might be faced with that same thing? And I said to them, like, for me, like, it was a very poor experience, but it was a learning experience too, because I was getting support from my local group and staff and family and friends. But when it came to like the bigger resources, like the region and the province, it kind of dwindled after like a few months of being transitioning from place to place. Because at one point, I think for almost 8 or 9 months of it, I wasn't receiving any feedback from the government, no check-ins, nothing. So it's always important to know who can you reach out to that will be there to help support you. Is there going to be funding sources that can help if you're faced with a housing crisis? Who are those people that you can connect with? Because without those people, you'd be like me, struggling to figure out what am I doing? Who can I connect with? So I've used that as a teaching moment for people to know connect with your local areas, connect with your federal government, your provincial government. They have programs that are in place for these kind of things. And as long as you're reaching out, they should be working with you, not against you.
It's all about building trust
Exactly.
from what I understand. Like building trust is like a main key in like trying to like help other people who have disabilities who are struggling with housing crisis and a lot of stuff. You have to build that
Trust
trust
is
but
important. Like honestly, without it, your network of supports can be great or they can suffer.
thank you for sharing. I believe that our stories and are powerful tools for creating change. So I'm glad that you and so many others are sharing your lived experience. Another part of your council work includes meeting with members of provincial parliament, discuss issues like Ontario Disability Support Program, also stands for ODSP, passport funding, case working support. In your opinion, what makes those conversations effective and where have you seen the most progress?
Well, I mean, for a number of years, we weren't really having those good connections with the government, so it made things very difficult to bring these issues forward. In the years before, like when we would meet with the council members over the phone and have our in-person meetings, we didn't really have a lot of interaction with the government. They didn't really know much about us and whatnot. But then we've evolved to doing more. The government has been seeing that, and that's led us to being able to have those ministry connections and having those discussions. So the fact that they're listening to us now more than ever, and we're having those ongoing conversations to, hey, here are our issues that we're faced with, including those caseworker supports, making sure that the caseworkers are understanding that we are people, treat us with respect, not just a number. So that way we can get these issues resolved. And it also helps us to know what they're working on. So that way we're working together as opposed to against each other. So it's been a very beneficial. We've had a lot of good conversations with Minister Parza and his team, talking about the ODSP issues and some of the passport funding issues. I sit on a couple of committees that relate to passport funding. So, like, it's a way of like bridging that communication gap, bringing those issues forward. So when people have ideas about how can we improve things, bring it to the council, bring it to me if it's passport related. I'll bring that forward to our teams to say, hey, here's what we're hearing. Here's what we need to send to them saying, hey, Can we put these changes forward as recommendations to ensure that people are getting more than what they need to be able to sustain a meaningful life? Like in the long run, we don't want to see people having to rely on ODSP as a source, but we want people to still be financially stable so they can still be able to rise above that poverty line. Because we all know rent has been a big problem for many, many years. And if
Yeah,
we can get to where we're on par with an amount that's comfortable, so we were still able to afford living and getting our rent payments done, to not have to rely on like homeless shelters and whatnot, that means that we can feel more comfortable.
right. From what I understand, like the first part, like the government didn't listen. The second part, you guys got involved in the community, and that's when they started listening, and that's when you guys worked together to solve the issue, but also solve problems to help it revelate the solution. Right?
Exactly. Like we just had to keep pushing and pushing till we were making sure that we were being heard. And once we finally got that connection with the government, it's made a huge stepping stone to be able to connect with them.
That makes sense. I totally understand it because I pictured the imagery in my head.
Hmm.
It's great to hear your voices are making a difference. It is so important that ministers not only have meetings with self-advocacy advocates, but actually listen to their concerns and do something about them. This leads me to my next question. Over the years, you've done many educational workshops and meeting with fellow self-advocates, advocates, service providers, students, and the government, educating them about the importance of inclusion. However, I'm sure that you agree that we still have a long way to go to make our communities more inclusive. So, in your opinion, what can schools, agencies, and communities do better to support and include people with disabilities?
Right off the bat, I'm going to say look at the person, not the disability. If you want to understand what's going on and how to be more supportive, talk to the parents, talk to the people themselves to know how can you better help me to ensure that I'm going to be successful. Because without that, like looking at the label of the person or the disability of the person, we're just going to keep going in circles. They have to be keeping an open mind and always be willing to listen to new ideas, listen to the person themselves because we know ourselves better than anybody. And just because we have a disability doesn't mean there's something wrong with us. We're all unique in our own gifts, our talents, and our abilities. And I've said that, and Lashana knows this when I've done our truths of institutionalization. We look at the person, not a label. Labels belong on jars, not people. So work with people, not against them, and understand what those needs are. Because if you're looking at a person like a label, then like you're not looking at the person.
So you look at the person first to understand what their needs are and support their needs and try to like help them to be successful in life.
Yeah, and the other thing is like if you're not sure of something, ask questions. Don't make an assumption because then you're just going to lead to having more problems and then you're going to create more challenges that you don't need. Always keep an open mind, always ask questions because you never want to assume something about somebody.
Yeah. You also don't want to end up in a hamster wheel. That's the worst part.
Yeah, because then you're just going to keep going in circles like the hamster does.
Thank you, Nico. Now, I want to switch gears and I ask you about some of your advocacy work beyond the council. In addition to being the council president, you're also a president of the A Team, a local self-advocacy group with community living Durham North. Can you tell our listeners about some of the projects the A Team has worked on over the years?
So we've had a couple that we've just been like working a lot on lately. We developed a presentation for going into schools, which got approved by the board for us to be able to start going into schools, talking to students that are transitioning out of high school and into the real world. So, I don't remember how we worded our slogan, but it was like, something to do with the disability and working or something, but I don't remember the exact name we had. But we're going to be taking that into the schools, to bring it to the students' attention to, hey, here's what we've done. Here are some of our experiences and what we've had with challenges and things so that when you go into the workforce, here's what you need to do and to be in order to be successful. Here are some tools, some tips. So that way they will have a smooth transition, we hope. But we're also going to make sure that they keep that communication line open, that if they're struggling, here's some resources. Don't be afraid to reach out to us because we have the lived experiences of what we've gone through, what we've had challenges with. And we know it's not going to be an easy step. Is anybody transitioning, whether it's public school, high school to the real world. There's always going to be those hiccups, but making sure you have a strong support team and the resources you can get ahead. And the
So
other project we're working on that we started last year after attending a meeting with the region accessibility people, we've banded together with our local other with some of the other local groups like Oshawa, Ajax, Whitby, and we're working on the sunflower program, as a lot of people have heard about. It initially obviously started off with airports, and it's been known worldwide. Buses have been utilizing it. And so what we're trying to do now is expanding that to not just within the transit system, but to local businesses, places that people might frequent, even service providers like fire, medical, police. And I was talking to somebody the other day that's out of York Region that they've heard of the program. They're now working on steps to implement it better, so that way more people are aware of how to look for these things, of like what the hidden sunflower program means, and so that way more people have an understanding of it, and that there's going to be a lot more respect around providing those helpful supports to people that need it.
from what I understand, you're like trying to help the students when they're going into the workforce, provide like the tools that they need, but also like connecting like with the community living Durham North, so that way they have their connection. If they are struggling, they come to at that place and get the tools that they need and support to overcome their challenges, including from school to high school. They need that support. Otherwise, they're gonna struggle, right, Nico?
Exactly.
Hopefully, this inspire some of our listeners at Durham Region to learn more about you guys. One of the projects that the 18 is now supporting is the Sunflower Program. This program aims to improve accessibility to people with invisible disabilities. Can you please tell us more about that program and what can employers and communities to do better support people with invisible disabilities?
So with the sunflower program, as you stated, it helps people have improved the accessibility for those that have those hidden things, like people that are on the spectrum, that are autistic, things that you would not see visibly in someone. So what we're trying to encourage businesses and places to do is that if you're seeing somebody that's coming in that's struggling, recognize these signs. And the sunflower program is designed to be non-intrusive, meaning that the only ways that you'll know that someone might be part of that or is supporting it is they'll have either the sunflower pin or they might be wearing a lanyard that'll have the sunflowers. So we're encouraging people to see these on people is that not to call them out, but just like, hey, if you need any extra support or anything, let me know. I'm here to help you. Do we want it to be more friendly so that people know that they're there to help the person and not to say, oh, do you want me to do this for you? No. You want to just put the person first, be like, hey, is there anything I can help you with today? You just let me know. We want people to be more mindful that these things are in place so that people have the right supports. And we don't want them being called out, but we want people to recognize that if they need that extra support, that employers will be trained on what to look for, so that way they know how to provide better customer service to people that for and just go that extra mile, because it's always about making sure that people are receiving the right supports, that they're getting the right help they need. But for someone that has hidden disability that's autistic, yeah, there might be some visual signs that might be recognizable, but that's not to say that we want people to be called out for it. We just want to make sure people that have that extra support that they need in order to like succeed. So if you're going into a store and someone might display symptoms of being autistic that you might not notice, that's okay. But it means that you're recognizing it, but you're not just gonna be like, oh, look at this person, look what they're doing. No, you're encouraging positive support and just saying, hey, is there anything I can help you with today? Do you need help finding anything? And that way, at least you're recognizing that they're a person coming in. You're looking beyond that hidden disability. like I mentioned earlier. A lot of things can be visual to people that they'll recognize. Other things are not. Autism is one of those funny things that not everybody will pick up on.
Yeah. If you're seeing like parents take their kids to the Sunflower program and they can try to get the help and resources that they need to help their kids or their teenagers or the adults, whoever it is, to help them with their support, right?
Yeah, and I mean they even have like cards you can carry that, and you can order these off the website too. But the lanyards are free. You can get them from the region. You can get them in a lot of places. And if you go online, you can get one of those like little card badges that you can actually customize. They'll have different things. So whether you're suffering with PTSD or you have ADHD, there's like a whole long list on their website. You can order these cards. They're around, I think, $20. They take a couple weeks to get in, but you can also on the back of it say, if I need extra support, here's the support number you can call and whatever. They're totally customizable. I highly recommend if you know people that can benefit from this. I will be more than happy to give you guys the link for this later, so you can include that as the reference. And Claire Kumar was one of the people that headed up the Hidden Disabilities program in Ontario. She's a great resource to reach out to if you need to know more. I will, like I said, I'll provide the contact info and the link for the website for people to get more information on it.
Yeah. And Nico, to be honest, like I also had I have a disability as well because I'm diagnosed with autism. I got diagnosed when I was like 3 to 4, but I got the help and support I need like a few years ago. My mom took me to the South Asian Autism Center. They helped me out with like with my disability, providing like help me out to like learn how to control my behavior, learn how to read, write, and learn how to like overcome these barriers to help me to like try to be successful in life. And I thank them for them.
Yeah, I got diagnosed with autism when I was 17, 18. I mean, I had some of the signs before, but it wasn't really a solid diagnosis. But it made sense later on, and I understood it better. And then when I connected with Carrie's place, they were a huge help with helping me understand more about the autism spectrum. ASD is a lot of people know it as. Um, Actually, back then they called it Asperger's, which was part of the autism spectrum disorder. So you can see how they changed the name of it over the years. I've also been heavily involved with Carrie Splits, not just with the advisory committee, but I've also been helping deliver workshops on enabling futures with different groups, organizations, talking all about the autism spectrum and ways that people can improve things. So that has been an awesome avenue for me to do in the last year and a bit. So I've been happy with that work, and it's helping get more people connected.
I really enjoyed this conversation and I learned so much from you. And I'm certain our listeners have learned a lot about advocacy. So, my last question for you today is for anyone listening who wants to become stronger, disability advocate, ally, what advice will you share to them to help them overcome their obstacles they may face?
Never be afraid to reach out if you're struggling, connect with people. And if you're interested in trying to get your own organization or group going, we have the supports in place that can help you provide those resources. We've talked to a lot of many different groups to help try and get them steered in the right direction that are trying to start off, but never be afraid to speak up. Speak speak up, listen, and just get your voice out there because without being a voice, you're voiceless and you're going to be ignored. But never be afraid to stand up for what you believe in and just keep fighting because without that, like you're not going to be getting ahead. But you always will know that you can either rely on the council support or local support from our local A team. Even myself, I mean, like even if I wasn't affiliated with them, with all the work that I've done over the years and speaking up for people, never be afraid to reach out because the more you do that, the more connections you'll make and the more voice you'll have.
That makes sense, Nico. For me, I kind of look for one of my tips from like from wise friend. Like, don't let someone tell you that you cannot do something. You can do something, and you have a dream. You got a dream. You got to protect it. And if you want something, go get it. Period.
Yeah,
That's what I
never be
learned.
afraid to like if you want to set a goal or a dream, never be afraid to like get help for getting that dream to become a reality. I mean, I wanted to do a cruise a long time ago for Disney with my mom, and my mom surprised me with doing that for my graduation gift of turning 18. It was an awesome experience.
Thank you, Nico. It's been great having you on the podcast today. I'm so grateful for everything that you shared, and I'm hopefully this will inspire someone who wants to start doing advocacy to know that their voice can make a difference. Now, before we go, do you have any final thoughts for our listeners or resources you like to share to encourage them to connect within their communities?
Oh, of course. Like I said, like my own group, I'm trying to get up and running with the Ontario Inclusion Alliance. I've got a few people that are helping me spearhead that. We've already got a Discord channel set up for that. We're on WhatsApp. I'm just in the process of finalizing the website for that. Um, Connect with me through People First York Durham, pfyr.ca, even through our local organization with CLDN, Community Living Durham North, or CLO with the council. Just your voices matter. You matter. Connect if you're ever struggling, and just don't be afraid to make changes and be the change for other people.
Like fight for change and fight the power.
Fight the power.
Yes.
Fight the power. Your voices matter. I appreciate being part of this. It's been an awesome blast. And you know what? Like, you're not in this world alone. And just remember, reach out if you're struggling. Hashtag one thing has been a motto that I've used for many years. And it just be the voice and be the support for somebody else, because you know what? You never know when you're going to need that support.
Thank you, Nico, and thank you for you and all your our listeners for listening in for our podcast. And thanks for tuning in today. We hope you enjoyed this Community Living Month episode, and we'll see you next time for another Real Talk. Bye for now.